powerful and attractive man.
Thank you. There's a man. His name is Gene Simmons. He's one of the greatest business people of all time. Probably the greatest merchandiser and salesperson on the planet. And I was part of a vast, horrible conspiracy to have him fired last night on The Celebrity Apprentice. And I didn't want it. You know why? Because he's funny, because he's got pizzazz, and because he was the best marketer on the whole darn program. And I am thrilled that Gene is with us now, because there was no one like him. And the reason why, other than Mr. Trump, this show was so much fun for me. Welcome to Mad Money.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, hold on just a sec. Live long and make a lot. What I asked you is what my 16-year-old asked me the moment that the show is over, which is, Mr. Simmons wanted to get fired, didn't he?
No, and a child shall lead them. Well, that's very astute, and the answer is part of that is correct. Yes.
Part of it is correct. I mean, you were willing to take a fall, even though you were the best merchant, and in the first 2 episodes, you were by far the best marketer.
Well, pragmatism sort of made its own demands. You know, sort of gravity doesn't care what your opinion is. We have Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, which has 34 episodes to shoot this season. Season 3 debuts soon. I'm involved in ngtv.com, which is the largest internet monster on the site. You can watch it on Extra. And, of course, Kiss is going back out on tour this March. And I could only stay on The Apprentice if it was a no-holds-barred entrepreneurial sort of entity, and there wasn't so much attention paid to the TV cameras. Unfortunately, not everybody who participated on it was doing it in the entrepreneurial spirit. Some were aware that there were TV cameras there and were trying to position themselves as far as a career choice. I was there to win.
Okay, listen, off camera, or when you were doing the chore, you were a man who was quite confident. That was, well, confidence a little too short. You were perhaps, let's say, a bit of a braggadocio. You had tremendous, tremendous belief. But when you got to that boardroom, you were ridiculously modest. You were willing to take credit for nothing. And you were also praising people like Nellie, who you and I both know did a crummy job.
Well, here's, you know, that's very kind. A really good leader behind the scenes cracks the whip. And when the team stands up in front of the glaring eyes of the public, always spread the praise. Otherwise, the people who are sitting there are sort of diluted to just yes men and yes women. So, yes, your assessment is correct. When they were sitting there with me, I was heaping praise on them and so on and so forth. But ultimately, at the end, a captain must go down with his ship if every sailor on that boat is taking orders from the captain. Those were my decisions. That was my branding. I stood by it then, and I stand by it now. It's the correct choice. The fact... Yes?
Why did you pick 2 people to come back to the boardroom who you know really had nothing to do with the loss, therefore making it so that we had to fire you?
Well, that's a very good question, and you're leading the witness, Your Honor, but that's precisely the point. Once you know you're going back in the boardroom, you know you're going to get fired. And I didn't want any of the ladies to get fired because there were some other things on my calendar I had to take care of. If we would not have been called back in the boardroom, then I would have continued and destroyed all living things in my path, because I am, well, I'm the best thing on that show, and you know it.
No, there's no doubt about it. I mean, look, everybody either loved you or hated you, but I was watching with 20 friends of mine at the Elks Lodge. I know you're probably an elk yourself. And we could not believe, and there were booing, actual booing. People were throwing things because they did not want to lose you as a contestant. Is that the experience you've gotten?
That's sweet. Yeah, that's been the reaction so far. It's difficult to believe anybody would hate me, because besides being powerful, I'm also attractive. But so are you, Kramer. By the way, you should where you split screen, you're the optimist against the pessimist, and it should be Kramer versus Kramer. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea. You'll probably see that segment next week. I want you to talk for a moment about some of the things that some of the brands... Didn't you reinvent IndyCar racing? I mean, you are an unbelievable marketer. Talk about some marketing successes you've had.
Well, let me tell you something. There's, by the way, all of you should log on to IndyCar.com for an entranceway into just a fantastic world of the fastest cars on the face of the planet, and our Simmons Abramson marketing venture, of which I have a terrific partner whose name is Rich Abramson, who's as good as it gets in the business, who's also, I'm proud to say, is my close friend. We are the two-headed beast, two different sides of the same coin, and we're fast becoming the most famous marketing branding company, although we're nowhere near the largest. We are proud to represent the IndyCar series, including the Indy 500, the perennial, iconic, and legendary, and continues to be the largest live event on planet Earth.
One last question. You said that not everybody was entrepreneurial. I like to end on a positive note because I know you and I are both handsome, powerful, and positive men. Could you tell me which person do you think, because you work for... deserving to, other than you, because you took yourself out of the running, deserves to be the celebrity apprentice in the end?
Donald Trump.
Well, I'll tell you, you're also a great politician. Gene Simmons for president? No, for Federal Reserve chairman. You get us out of this jam. Thank you, Gene.
Well, I like...
Thank you.
See ya.